Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another review. Today I am going to be reviewing the newly released Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. This film is a horror/thriller, an hour and 47 minutes long, and it's rated PG-13. So let's get into this. Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark is about a group of teenagers sneak into a haunted house on Halloween night, find a book of scary stories, and become cursed with the book forever. Now, going into this movie, I didn't really know what to expect. I've never read the Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark book before, so I didn't really know quite what to expect, what I was in for. But the results, I actually really enjoyed it. This is the type of film that gets under your skin. It gets kind of gross at times. It gets kind of scary at times. This is one of those films that focuses mainly on its jump scares, and honestly, I think it really works. Building up to it, going into the film, it kind of starts off very slow paced. It's based in the 60s, so a nice little town with people in it. It's Halloween night. They're playing 60s music about Halloween. And then there's just these kids. They're just kind of like these teenagers who want to get revenge on a bully. They want to kind of like throw poop at his car. So that was their main goal. But then they have to kind of run away from him. And as they're running away, they kind of get involved with this new guy. And then after the bully finally leaves, they decide, well, it's Halloween, let's go see a haunted house. And at first, that's when I thought most of the jump scares were going to happen in the haunted house. Most of the jump scares were in the haunted house. But as we built up to it, we kind of built into the story, which I really like the story in this film. The creatures, my favorite creature. The creatures are awesome. The scarecrow was my favorite, and I just kind of really like the way they kind of build up in this film. So on the positives for me, I really like the way they build up to this film. They set up all the plots perfectly. They really have an all-around great story. They know how to set up the story, and this is one of those films where I felt like, okay, so in the trailer there was a bit too many plot points. I felt like this one was gonna have a bit too many plot points, which it did. I'll get to that in a few minutes. But this was one of those rare films where it has a bit too many plot lines, but they know how to stack them up in perfect order to make results of a pretty nice film. And now, was it my favorite film of the year? No, but it is still a very well film that knows what it's trying to do. It knows what to do when it wants to do it. And the jump scares are perfect. They're creepy. They get under your skin. It just really works. So that's going to be in the positives for me. Up next, in the mix aspects. For me, the mix aspects, the costume designs, I felt like it looked a little bit cheesy. There's some times where the CGI doesn't necessarily work as wellly, and it kind of takes you out of the plot, especially the creature at the end of the film. CGI, it was kind of all over the place, but I just feel like what they did in the film, it really works for me. It has that great story and knows what it's trying to do. And I feel like it knew what it was trying to do at the perfect time. But the costume design, there's some parts where you're like a little confused. Like, okay, how are they going to set this up? What are they going to do in this next scene? Kind of confuses you. So that's mixed aspects for me. Now going on to the negatives. There's not very many negatives. But one thing I want to point out, there's a bit too many plot points. I felt like there's a bit too many plot points. And I felt like that kind of takes me out of the film a little bit, because when they're focusing on a bit too many plot points, there's not really a certain plot point that you're trying to get into and root for. But I still really enjoy it. There's not much negatives on this one for me, although there's times where I feel like it's a bit too over the top and we didn't need this much. But other than that, I felt like what they did was very nice in this film. The ending kind of weirded me out. I wasn't really sure how this was gonna go. It's one of those films that doesn't really end on a good note. But wasn't really sure how the ending was gonna go, and it kind of took me out of the film a bit. But other than that, I really enjoy it. So for me, on my score, it was very hard to pick how I am going to rate this movie. But for me, I am going to give Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark a 62%. I want to put it higher because I really enjoyed this film. But it's just, there's a lot of creepy crawliness gets under my skin, and it kind of takes me out of the film a little bit. CGI at times, plot points, so that's why it's only at 60. As for my recommended scale, I'm actually going to give this film a B. I do recommend you check this out if you are into the genre horror thriller. If you are not, then you should probably stay away from this film. And this film is probably worth watching on Redbox, and I guess if you want to get it on Blu-ray, you can get it on Blu-ray. But anyway, that was my thoughts on Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Please be sure to leave your thoughts down in the comments below. Do you love this movie? Do you hate it? Or is it in between? So that's my all-around score. I want to put it higher, but it's kind of one of those that at times it falls under the bus a little bit. It is very entertaining, so that is why it is high on my. I gave it a B and a 62. But anyway, thanks for watching and peace out.